Hello, once again, everyone. Welcome back. Hi to anyone else who is new. If you made it back from watching part one, God bless you. Thank you so much. And welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, this is part two, as I had promised and as I had said, of my encounter with the devil. I just want to make something clear that the reason why I'm saying it's part two is because even though it's different stories, different encounters, but it has the same concept, which is a door. In both encounters, I'm faced having to open a door. I'm faced having to open a door. And honestly, when I was doing these, when the Lord spoke to me about doing these, sharing these encounters, a question came to my mind like, what doors are we opening in our lives? What doors are you opening in your life that God is trying to warn you about? Are you opening a door that is bringing in the devil, giving him legal rights to operate in your life? God is trying to warn you about certain doors in your life that you should not be opening. Are you doing things that you know you're not supposed to do, but you're doing them anyway? Like, we can take something as little as going on a night out when you know deep inside you're like, but I really want to stay home. Something as little as that can open a doorway. You don't know what's going to happen to you where you're going. You don't know if you're going to reach that place or not. You don't know if you're going to make it back home. There are certain things that God warns us about constantly, that God is trying to protect us from. This is not literally me opening a door. It's literally things that are happening in our lives, our destinies, our day to day decisions that we make without acknowledging God and putting Him, um, you know, in the forefront of decision making. So, um, part two is it's more elevated than part one. My encounter in part one, when I thought that when I encountered it all, no. Part two was is it's kind of like an elevated encounter, much scarier than for me personally than the first encounter. So after the whole encounter that happened in part one, it actually brought me closer to God. It brought me higher in the Lord. It brought me um, to spend more time with Him, and God doing so, God will elevate you in your gifts, in hearing Him more and understanding how He works more. So in this particular time in my life, now this encounter happened on the month of May. On the month of May, the 16th of May. This is this year, 2024. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. The year of 2024, right? January was, normal for me. It's the beginning of the new year. God started doing a work in me in the month of March, the end of March, where I was watching a sister in Christ who was talking about a 3-day dry fast. So I thought, I knew that, okay, this I have to do. I just knew that I had to do this fast. I just knew it. Like, when you spend a lot of time with the Lord and in His Word, there are certain things that God puts in your heart and He confirms it through maybe someone. So I knew that I had to do a 3-day fast, and I did. I did a 3-day fast. And before the 3-day fast ended, the Lord spoke to me again and said, I need you to do a Daniel fast, which is a 21-day fast. And I thought, whoa, okay. So when the 3-day dry fast was about to end, or when it ended, I went on the page again on YouTube, and she was doing a video to end the fast. And in the video, she said she believes that there's someone here who God is calling to do a 21-day fast. And I thought, okay, God, that's confirmation for me. And she said, yeah, be obedient. So I went on a 21-day fast. And then before the 21-day fast was about over, God said to me, you need to carry on and do another fast. This time do a liquid fast. So in total, he wanted me to do right. So in total, God wanted me to do 40 days of fasting. And it was honestly one of the best times in my life. Like when you fast, it honestly elevates your relationship with God. Your dreams change, how you hear the Lord change, how you perceive God changes. It's just such a vulnerable, humbling state that you get to be in with God. Like, it's amazing. I can't explain it to you. So from March, April, I was fasting, like the whole of April. And at that time, when it was April, it was the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is a kind of like a remembrance for the children of Israel, to remember that God took them out of Egypt. So when God took them out of Egypt, they were like rushing. They didn't have time to be kneading their doughs. So that's why it's called the Feast of Unleavened Bread, where you eat bread that has not risen. So the last day, because it's 7-day feast, God gave me that last day. So I celebrated it and I had unleavened bread. I take this God thing seriously. It's like, it's my life. There's nothing else out there, you know. I've done it all. I've wanted to take control of my life, and it literally running in circles until I found so much fulfillment and peace and purpose in God. So at that point in my life, during the fast, God had been speaking a lot to me about things that he's going to do in my life. So May, I was done with my fasts, my assignments, my missions, and I knew that God was about to do something in my life. I just knew it. I knew that God was going to bring a blessing in my life. And specifically the 15th and the 16th of May, I knew that God was going to do something. I was like, Lord, I know it. I can just feel it. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew God was ready to do something. So on that day, I was running errands and I was on the road, and I looked at the clouds and I was like, Lord, I feel like everything was just perfect. I was on the freeway and this car drives by and the number plate is Adonai. I was like, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So that day, the night came and I was like kind of disappointed that, nothing happened. God, like I was expecting something to happen. But then again, the Lord was reminding me that I need to follow up on an inquiry that he had told me to make. I can't share a lot about that right now because it's not the time. But at that time, God had made me do an inquiry. So, and God told me, check on that inquiry. And before I picked up the phone to make a phone call to this person, God said to me, listen, you are delayed, but it's not a denial. And I thought, what? He said, delay, but not denial. Delay is not a denial. That's what he said. So I called up this person, and unfortunately, the inquiry that I made was not successful. I was kind of sad, but comforted at the same time. So I went on to watch a sermon on YouTube by a brother who I will share the video here. What he said.
I don't know who that person is, but you're going to feel the presence of the Lord. But I heard the Lord saying to someone that is watching, you are delayed but not denied. I don't know whose word that is for. But I heard God saying to you that you are delayed but you're not denied. Glory be to God. That whatever was intended to come to you is just simply delayed. It is not denied to you. My God, receive that.
Was mind-blowing. I shared the video right here. And I knew that he was talking to me. And I knew that God had used him to relay a message to me. So after that video, I watched the whole sermon and I was so filled. I was like, even though things did not work out the way I thought, God's thoughts are not our thoughts. God will not do anything the way you think. It's not going to happen the way you think it will. I had to learn that. So on that night, I went to bed. And when I went to bed, I was kind of thinking about everything and I was, feeling comforted. And I remember feeling the presence of the Lord coming upon me like a blanket. You put a blanket over yourself. I remember feeling that and it felt so amazing. And then all of a sudden, I got distracted. Like there was something distracting me. And I just couldn't make out what it was. Like I couldn't feel the presence anymore. I just felt distracted. I couldn't put my finger at the same time. I'm falling asleep. And when I fall asleep, I wake up in another place. And this encounter was more like a dream. So in this dream, I'm in my little home. It's like a little house, right? And it wasn't four-corner house. It was around walls. And I'm busy minding my own business. I got earphones on. I got a gown on, like I'm going to go take a shower or a bath. And I'm busy doing things. And then I hear a conversation outside my door. And I'm thinking, who's having a conversation outside my door? Like, that's kind of rude. Like, why aren't they knocking? So I go to the door again. I stand by the door and I'm listening. Now, I can hear by their voices that it is a father and a son type of conversation. I can tell that the father is about late 30s, early 40s. The child probably was about 12, 13 years old. And the father is sharing life stories about how he grew up and things that happened. And the boy was like so intrigued. So I'm standing by the door and I'm like, who's there? And it went dead silent, quiet. And then I thought, let me peep through the door. You know where you turn when you enter the key? Let me peep through that keyhole. When I peeked through the keyhole, it was as if they knew what I was doing inside. Like, it's as if they knew what I was thinking. The same time I peeped through the keyhole, the little boy peeps through from the outside. And I was taken aback. Like, whoa. And then I decided, okay, let me peep through the window. Because there was a window next to the door. Like those small windows on top of a sink. When you have your sink and you have a window and the small curtain. It was like that. So I was thinking, let me peep through the veil of the curtain. Because it was see-through. Maybe I can see like an outline of this man. So I peep. Oh my word. As I peep through the window curtain, this man was standing right there. And our eyes locked. I have never in my life met anybody who looked at me like he wanted to kill me. I could sense the hate, the rage. I could sense that I disgusted him and that he wanted to literally rip me apart. He looked at me, but at the same time, I knew by the grace of God that he cannot touch me. And it took me back to that scripture where the devil presented Job to God and said, I bet if you took everything of his, he would curse you. And God said, fine, do what you want to do, but don't take his life. The devil did everything to Job. Killed his family, left him with sicknesses. but he couldn't take his life. And Job sat there. And he even said that I came to earth naked like this. That's how I'm going to go. Just like this. And God later on blessed Job, as we all know. In this particular moment, I got the shock of my life. I felt that my life was in danger. I knew that if I had opened this door to see who these people, these rude people were, I was not going to make it back. As intense as this may sound, I knew that whatever that thing was going to kill me then and there, and I was not going to wake up. I was not. I knew that my life was in danger. And immediately I stepped away from the door and I left. Now, when I woke up, the most terrifying part was I woke up, my eyes were open. That was the most terrifying part, is that I woke up, my eyes were open. Man, I was so scared to get out of my bed. I was so scared to even move from my bed. I think I froze for like a couple of minutes. I was scared to go back to sleep. I was scared to switch off the lights. But then again, I was like, God, thank you for saving my life. We are so helpless and hopeless in dreams. And that is how the devil attacks us in our dreams. Because we're vulnerable, we don't know what's happening. And some of us don't even take our dreams seriously. Only God can save you in your dreams. And I thought to myself, God, is this how people die in their dreams and they don't wake up? It was intense for me. And the message that I want to share today is, what doors are you opening in your life that God is warning you about, that is bringing delay? You know, when you know you're going to get that job and then you don't, when you know that your person, your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend is going to propose and he just leaves, and when you know that you're going to get approved for that application, your home, your car, and nothing happens. It is so important to be in good standing with God so that God can align your destiny. There are things that the devil has stolen that you don't even know about, that only God can restore. Only God is the one that can stop you from entering into a door or opening a door in your life that can end to your demise. Every time I pray, I thank God for saving my life. There are so many activities in our dreams that we are not aware of. Eating in your dream, engaging in sexual activities in your dream, drinking in your dream. All of those things are demonic activities. They are attacks. If you are dreaming about stuff, surely in your life, you're doing those things. If you are a person who, is not really in right standing with the Lord, your dreams will probably be all over the place. You wouldn't understand them. You'd probably be doing the same things that you're doing here on this earth. You're doing them in your dreams. It may not seem to you that it matters. It really does. The devil does not want you to think that the 10 Commandments are important. He doesn't want you to think that following God's ways is important. He wants you to think that you're in control of your own life. This is your life. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't work that way. I used to think that way, and it never helped me. So I would love for whoever's watching right now, if you're watching till the end, to ask God to close those doors that you've opened in your life. If you think back at things that you used to do, that you know that they were wrong, maybe you engaged in a ritual and you thought you were just playing. Maybe you were looking at demonic stuff, like maybe you watch pornography, maybe whatever it is that could bring in demonic activity that makes you feel like you're stagnant in your life. You ask God to forgive you and to cast those evil things out that you've been idolizing, and to close that doorway and seal it with his blood now and forever. Renounce all those things. So I pray that you guys have been blessed by my stories, and I will share more if you guys like these stories. I will share more if God leads me to. I've had plenty of encounters, not with the devil, but I've had a lot of encounters with the Lord, and I'd be happy to share them with you. So God bless you all. I love you all. Bye.